Hello. Today we are going to be making a mesh wreath. First I'll go through and show you the materials that you need, and then we'll get started and go through the process. The first thing that you need is your wreath form. These are really nice because they have the twists that are already connected, so you don't have to cut your pipe cleaners or anything like that. Everything's right here. Plus this adds a little something extra into your wreath that you didn't have to add. It's already there. They come in plain colors, metallic, there's a variety. There's literally over 50 colors that they come in just on trendytree.com alone. You can find them other places too, craft outlets, things like that. For one wreath, you will need one roll of mesh. So if you are doing one wreath, but you want to have multiple colors, you will need 3 rolls of mesh, and then those 3 rolls will make 3 wreaths. So it's 1 roll for 1 wreath. You also need your ribbon. Today we have the 4-inch ribbon and the 2-inch ribbon. We're just going to use those two. You can use as much or as little as you like. You can also get the different picks that you can find at the craft stores, and they just fit right down into your wreath. That'll be the last thing that you would put in. I like to use a cutting mat. It's nice because it has your measurements and it won't let your blade cut through to the table. So it keeps everything nice and clean and damage free. So you'll need a cutting wheel, which is really nice. It makes things a lot easier and goes a lot faster. And then you'll also need a pair of scissors. And that is all you will need to get started. When you get started to cut your mesh, you want to open it up. Now the ends of it are going to stick on your clothing, especially if you have a sweater on, it's really going to stick. So you want to make sure you have a surface that you can have room to work to where you can separate yourself from what you're cutting. You are going to put your mesh down on your cutting mat, and everything gets cut in 10 inches. So your mesh, you want 10-inch squares. So it's from the edge here, and then you want to cut over 10 inches. So that you end up with a 10-inch square. You're going to cut the entire roll in 10-inch squares. And you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to do the same exact thing. You want 10-inch pieces. And then you're going to chevron your ends. So if you didn't see that, sorry, I went too fast there. Fold your ribbon in half, and then you're going to fold it over in half again. From the inside to the outside, a diagonal cut, and then your ends end up like that. You'll want to do that to every piece of ribbon. This keeps your ends nice from fraying, but it also gives it a nice polished, tailored look to where it's not just the blunt edge. And then we can get started assembling. For the assembly, the first thing you want to do is pull your twist out so they are all out away from the wreath form and easily accessible. Some of them may slide a little bit, and that's totally fine. Once you get the mesh in there, it will hold it in place and they won't slide anymore. But for the time being, it doesn't matter. Each twist is going to have 3 pieces of mesh. The easiest way is to lay it out on the table. Your finished sides are going to be vertical. Your unfinished sides, your cut sides, are going to be horizontal. You want to gather on the uncut or unfinished sides so that you have what looks like a butterfly. You want to pinch it tight in the middle so it doesn't go anywhere. This part may be a little tricky for some of you. So some of you may have a paper clip or a clothespin or some other chip clip, something like that, that can hold these for you if it's too hard for you to hold it and gather to build on your bunch that you're going to put in your twist. So do what works for you. But again, you're going to gather working from one cut side to the other. Now you have your two butterflies. They're going to go right next to each other. So they're right next to each other, and then you're going to pinch them. So you have a butterfly. Now we're going to add one more element in here. Make sure your finished sides are to the outside and you are working on the cut sides. And then that goes in your bunch. So it gets pretty full, but that's fine. Make sure you're pinching in the middle. You want to come over, we're going to start on the outside ring. You're going to put this down in here, put the middle right down in the center of the twist. This is the very, very important part. You want to make sure that you pull this twist super tight. You do not want any slack in there. You want that as tight as you can get it. This is going to give you the fluff that you want. Otherwise, it's going to be floppy and your mesh is going to be flat. The tighter you get it, the fluffier it's going to be. So then this is what your first twist looks like. You want to make sure that you only do it twice. That's all you need to do, because at some point when we get all this finished, we're going to be adding in your ribbon. You don't want to have to untwist 10 times just to get to the bottom to put your ribbon in. Twice is fine and it will hold. These twists are pretty sturdy. So then we're going to get our next 3 pieces of mesh and we're going to do the same thing. Your bunch, and you're going to come over here, put it down in your twist, make sure it's nice and tight, pull that as tight as you can, give it a good twist, a little fluff if you need to, and then we're going to move on. Once you have all your mesh in, you're going to want to turn it around to the back side and push the mesh up through the middle. As you're working, it tends to get pushed down. So we want to make sure it's all back towards the front. And once you turn it back over, then you're going to work on fluffing up some of those areas that get a little squished from putting the mesh in. So you just want to fluff it up, separate, make sure it's really nice and full. Okay, so once you have that done, then we are ready for the ribbon. So each twist is going to get 2 pieces of ribbon. You're going to take your wider ribbon first. This is the ribbon that's going to be at the back, or at the bottom of each twist. And you're going to pinch it just like you did the mesh, so that you end up with a pinched area in the middle that looks like that. So you're going to hold it in your fingers, and then you're going to do the same thing with the smaller ribbon, and then it's going to go right on top. I like to crisscross mine instead of putting it directly straight, because that way when you put it in the twist, it's fuller and you can see both pieces of ribbon. If you decide to use 3 or 4 pieces of ribbon, you can definitely use more. You just want to make sure they're separated and not just straight flat. So then you're going to open up one of your twists here. Now, when you open your twist, your mesh is not going to spring out. The mesh stays pretty much where you put it. So that's completely open. Your mesh is not coming out. You're going to put this right down, and again, the key is to get it all very tight. You don't want any space between the mesh and the ribbon. So you made sure that you untwisted these ties all the way down. Now you want to give it a good 2 twists so it's nice and tight, and then you can fluff up your ribbons and you can pull your twist up because they add a little decoration here. So you're going to repeat this process for every twist. So you're going to have ribbon in every twist. In some wreaths we don't do that. You can do every other, or every 3rd twist, or you can just do a few here and there and then put some of those picks in that we talked about. Something that you want to, say you had a little bicycle pick that you wanted to put in there, you could put that in there. So there's all different things you could do to make this very uniquely your own. But for right now, we're just going to do the ribbon. And again, you want to make sure that you open the twist all the way so that your ribbon is going to lay flat on your mesh. Put it all the way back down in there. Make sure that's really tight and secure. Give it a good 2 twists, and then fluff your ribbon. And then we're going to do that all the way around. Here's your finished wreath, and like I said, you can put different twists on it, your own kind of personalization, picks, different ribbons. You can use all different ribbons, whatever you like. And because you have your wreath form back here, you can put a command hook up, anything, and it sits right on that wire form, and you can hang it anywhere. Just be careful on your front door, because if you have a glass door that's outside of your main door, it may not fit because they get really fluffy.